Okay, when I get to 1, that means you need to be quiet. I will give you chances to talk and share. Just so you guys know, my name is Mrs. Glasgow. If you didn't know me, I'm writing on Mr. Lopez's very nice board. Mr. Lopez and Miss Garzaloni were so gracious to me. I went to a writing training and I kind of heard about some different things that I thought would help you. So I said, can I please come in? And I kind of told them really fast because I just went to the training. So I'm going to start with you guys. They're going to finish this week on the sources. And then next week I'm going to come back and work on doing the introduction and starting the body. Okay? I know they've been teaching it, and if they told you something different, that's okay. You don't have to say, oh, well, Mr. Lopez did it this way or Miss Garzaloni did it that way. That's okay. I'm learning new things, so I'm sharing with you. All right? Excuse me. And I'm not feeling well, I'm warning you, but I came because you guys are so important to me that I want to make sure I was here. So if I'm coughing or sneezing a little bit, don't mind. I'll try not to get my germs on you, okay? All right, first thing we're going to look at is we have our learning target and our success criteria. So let's read our learning target together. Start right up here with me in 1, 2, 3, go. Informative text to examine a topic. Whoa, that got a little fuzzy in there, guys. I think the first part you know about. You've been doing that, right? Informative text. Informative is giving information. I'm not even going to write that because you guys know that. All right, how about this part? Oh, I forgot to do something. I need you to look at the person. I know you're sitting a little different than normally. There's going to be some times I need you to turn to your partner. Okay? Some of you will be across from each other. Some of you are next to each other. Okay? Teachers, if you'll help me with that. I know they're not in their normal setup, all of them. But if I ask you to share with a partner, put your eyes on your partner. You and your partner have your eyes on each other. Who does? You don't have a partner? There's one right there. I've got one more here too. Oh, that's okay. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look at your partner. I'm going to be calling them by whoever has longer hair and shorter hair. So I want a thumbs up from the partner that has longer hair. So I should see all the longer hair partners with a thumb up. Just so you know who you are. I'm not doing A and B and 1, 2 right now because there's too many of us. All right, bring it back now. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, we're good. We got the partner, so you know. That was for you. I just need you to know who your partner is. All right, so that, excuse me, writing the target, write informative text, you know that part, to examine a topic. So if you are the longer haired partner, I want you to turn to your partner and tell them what you think it means to examine a topic. Think about what examine means. Examine a topic. Sorry about that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's a little weak. I've got to tell you, 4th grade got a little faster than you guys. When we get to 1, you're quiet. All right, examine a topic. So I need a short-haired partner to tell me what you guys said in your group. All right. Okay, so it's thinking like research about it. What'd you guys say? Oh, examine. Look at it really closely. Okay, I think that's fair. So to examine, write that in there. Look closely. Okay, what about that next part? Because that next part was where you guys were reading it and you sounded kind of like, ooh. Okay, convey ideas and information clearly, and that's kind of one thing. All of that is one part. Convey ideas and information clearly. Watch the think first. What could that mean? Now that we know that it means to look clearly, look closely at the topic. What does that last part mean? All right, turn with your partner, short hair person, it's your turn. Say what you think. If your partner needs help, you that's fine. Go ahead. 30 seconds. What do you guys All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I heard some great conversation. What I really liked is a lot of you don't know what that word means, but you didn't let that stop you. You don't have to be nervous about that. That's okay. Can you guys share what you said about what you think convey ideas? Nice and loud.
Looking closely for the ideas that help you with the essay.
Okay, looking for ideas. What did your table come up with? You guys had a great idea. Yeah, you guys had some great ideas.
Share and let other people know.
Right, because in conveying, you're going to be writing this essay. So you want to convey your ideas clearly. If they're all jumbled up, is the reader going to understand? No, okay? So this is like kind of like share, or you guys are going to write, convey that ideas and information clearly. So today, that's the whole thing for writing the whole informative essay. Today we're going to focus on 3 pieces of success criteria. Some of you may already have these, but since I haven't been teaching your class, I'm just kind of telling you where we're at for today. So one thing you're going to be able to do by the end of the day, or can already do, examine a prompt and determine your purpose for writing. That's one of the first things we're going to do. Because when you open your test booklet, when you open an essay, what does your teacher ask you to go to? Please, 5th grade, don't let me down. Everybody, what are we going to go to first? Give yourselves a pat on the back. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. All right, bring it back. You're getting better. That's better. Oh, I forgot to tell you too. I know some of you have your cards and some don't from different classes. Everybody is starting with me with 3 signatures from me for this lesson. Okay? So teachers know that. If we have to make an adjustment from that, I will let you know personally. But I expect that you're all going to make that because my 4th grade group, they knocked it out. I had 50 kids in there. That's close to what you guys have. That's a lot of kids. Yeah? All right? So we're going to do that first, success criteria. Then we're going to read the text closely. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to take the text and put it in our face like this. That's not close reading, okay? That's just putting text on your face. We're going to look, we're going to know what our task is, and we're going to read for that purpose of that task. And we're going to figure out how the text we're reading relates to the prompt. And the last part, which we'll just touch in today, is we're going to make connections to the text and either yourself or something you've read about or you've heard about or you know about. That's that last piece that's going to make your writing really interesting. Okay, so that's what we're looking to do today. Sound good? Ready to work? They look a little shaky there, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Carsloney. Can you help? Everyone's getting done? Can you guys? Oh, I didn't do that. Smell-free. And we're not going to take a pass out here. here. Appreciate it, sir.
James.
Hey, everybody should have their eyes up on the front. I'm going to kind of be here to use the dot cam a little bit. Everybody needs to write kind of small at the top. First name, last name, and date. Because we're going to be writing some other things up there. That should take 10-15 seconds. And we're really trying to do a whole lot in a really little bit of time. So I'm going to move fast. All right, that's my goal. Some things you may have seen before, some things you may not have seen before. You can give me feedback later if you want, like at recess or something, you can come see me if you want to share with me. All right, so first thing, wait, you already told me. What's the first thing we want to do?
Look at the prompt.
Look at the prompt. Okay, but before we go there, I want to just show you a couple things on this before you go to the prompt. You won't have to do this on the writing. I just want you to see. So we're on the front page. You see this top piece here that says helping endangered animals? Circle that. And then I want you to write these 3 words after it. Text, set, title. Can you guys see? Janelle, can you see? Okay. Text, set, title. The reason I want to put that there is no matter which writing prompt you get, opinion or informative, it's going to have a text set title. That gives you a little clue as to what you might be reading about. So this one says helping endangered animals. I think you're already thinking, what might this writing prompt be about? I hope you're already thinking that. Okay? However, when you cite your sources, you may not cite the text set. So put an X and write do not cite. You can't write in helping endangered animals. That is not a title that you can use to cite from, because that is just the title of the 2 or 3 sources that you're going to see. Okay, I want you to know it, but you do not cite that. I think your teachers have talked to you about citing, but we're not citing the text set title. And every assessment or every practice will have one. Okay, what can you cite though? So I'm going to show you some options to cite. So over here, go ahead and write options to cite. And I'm going to show you 4 different ways to cite. Your teacher may have focused on one, and that's okay, but sometimes it's nice to know different ways, because when you're writing, you can change up the way that you cite. Okay, so the first option to cite is these 2 words here, source 1, underline source 1, with 1 line. And I'm just going to draw an arrow because that's one option that I can use to cite. Again, you won't do this when you do your writing assessment. I just want you to be aware. And you're 5th grade, so you need to know these things, because in 6th grade it changes a little. So you have to know how to cite better in 6th grade. All right, another option, I want you to do 2 lines under where it says endangered animals. That's the title. So that's a second option to cite. My 2 lines look a little skewed. A third option is the author. A 4th option, over here there's a whole bunch of numbers that go down the side. What are those? Thank you, paragraph numbers. That's your 4th option. You can cite from the paragraph. So those are options on any text that you can cite. However, don't use all of them in one citation. So if I want to use something from paragraph 1, I don't want to write in my paper, in source 1, Endangered Animals by Ken Nelson on paragraph 1. It's clunky. It slows the reader down. Remember, your readers are smart. The people reading the assessment. They're reading your teachers. They're reading them. Okay? So don't write all of those. Pick one. You can say, in source 1, the author says. That would be okay. Your teachers may have showed you paragraph. In paragraph 3. That's a great way to do it. Okay? And I'll show you one other way. So let's just mark that for all three sources. So let's go to source 2. You have the same thing here. So mark it up the same way. It could be source 2, the title, the author, the paragraph. Same thing for source 3. If you need help, raise your hand, but I think you can follow that pattern there. Just so you know what you're able to say from. So you get on to source 2, please. Don't forget the paragraph. Okay, now it's the time you've all been waiting for. That first thing we're supposed to do. Go to that prompt page. It's on the back. Told you, fast. Now, before we get straight into this, put your pencils down and hear me just for a second. Because you're 5th grade and I know you can do this. This writing task that you're going to be given, this is one sample, you've done other ones throughout the year. It's not just a summary. You've done summaries. That is one of your standards, summarize the text. But if you take this task and just write a summary, your writing will be boring. Okay, that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is take the task, and we're going to break that down in a minute, and add some of ourselves to it. How do I do that? Have you been asked to do that? It's kind of weird to say that, right? So you're going to take some of what you read, and maybe some of what you already know, or what you've seen, or what you've heard, and you're going to add your information to it. And that's what's really going to address that task and help you, do better in showing what you know and what you understand from what you read. And I know how smart all of you are in this room because I've worked with most of you in here. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at that. I want to see that. All right? So you all know we need to go to our prompt first because we have to know our mission, our job in doing this text. We have a mission, just like, the astronauts go into space. We've got a mission here. What is that little acronym your teachers have taught you? And I'm doing like a little picture to show you. What do we do when we get here? Say it. Pat. So if you'll write Pat vertically, and you can do this part. So when you get your assessment, I can't help you on assessment day. I can help you now. Your teachers can help you now. If this helps you, I want you to write it here because you also will see that on your planning sheet. You can write it there. Okay? So the P, everybody, stands for? And what are our 2 options for purpose? What could they be? There's 2 options. Opinion or informative. So everybody take a look at this essay. You read that first sentence. I don't need to read it to you. Box what the purpose is in that essay. You put a box around the purpose of this particular essay. And I will tell you, it is not the whole sentence. It is 1 or 2 words. James, what's the purpose?
The purpose is to write an informative essay.
Okay, that's it. Just that. The purpose is informative essay. Make sure you can see it. Okay? So if you have more than that, don't get confused with the task. The purpose is, are we writing opinion? Are we writing informative? Okay? Guess what? It's always going to tell you. I think we've told you that. It's not going to trick you. It's not going to be something you've never seen. It's going to be one of those 2. All right? So, what's the A? We're going to go back to Pat. Everybody, what's the A? You all should know it. Audience. Now this, and most of them I've seen in 5th grade, don't say who the audience is. I think the practice ones, they never said, write to the president, write to your teacher. But you know the audience is who? Teachers. Like teachers, educated people is what they like to say. All right? People that score these have been to college. All right? Sometimes they're like retired teachers. So I'm just going to put over here, I'm just going to write it so I remember. My audience, I'm writing to a teacher. I'm not using text talk to a teacher. I'm not writing IDK in my essay. Is that it? I don't know. That's right. I don't know if I know all the text talk. All right? So teacher, how you're going to write to your teacher is different than how you're going to write to your best friend. All right, and what's the T in Pat, everybody? Task. All right, so the task. Underline the task on this prompt. Some of you already had done something to it, but I want you to underline what the task is. How about underline the task there? What are they asking you to do? What's the task? Not writing, not exactly. Okay, well, you read me the whole sentence. I want to know just what is our specific task we're working on. Go ahead. There we go. So you should have underlined, explain how people can help endangered animals. So that part you already knew, right? Yeah. You guys are experts, so we can move on. The part I learned that I thought was very helpful is, let's take a look at that task, which it's not really explained. I guess it's just, the task we're asking is how people can help endangered animals. And I want you to think about, how could you ask that as a question? Don't say anything out loud. Change that last part, how people can help endangered species. Change that into a question. If you were going to ask me that, how would you change that into a question? Think for a minute. Not a whole minute. 10 seconds. All right, turn to your partner, and if you're the longer-haired partner, I want you to tell what question you would make, and then short-haired partner, you can give them some feedback. Go ahead. 30 seconds. All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For 5th grade, I think this is pretty straightforward and makes sense. All right, Thomas, what did you come up with? What did your group come up with? Because I know that you're not the long hair.
Okay, I came up with...
No, your partner, right? Or is it what you thought? Or both?
I thought that you could probably donate or stop animal abuse.
Okay, but what's the question we want to ask to turn that into a question?
Like...
Start with the word how. If we started with how, what could we ask?
How can you help endangered animals?
And not necessarily just you, but how can people? So what I want you to do is at the top of your paper, did anybody come up with something like totally different, or were you pretty close to that? I heard a lot of similar. Okay. So all it is kind of switching these two words. How can people help endangered animals? Write that at the top of the prompt. The reason we're doing this is because it helps you to focus on what am I reading for. If every page you're thinking about how can people help endangered animals, you're going to be thinking more about that question and finding evidence to support that. Can you also write that on the front on source 1? So flip your paper over, write that up top here too. So whatever your task is on any text, turn it into a question. If you have time, you can write it on the top of source 3 on the inside, because you always want to be thinking about that question. By the way, you guys are doing awesome. I love how focused you are. I can tell your teachers have really worked hard on you guys with writing this year. You got that question?
Was it actually?
You got that on the front there? Make sure it has a question mark at the end. Question, it's an asking sentence. All right, let's go back to that prompt. If you wrote your sentence a couple times. All right, let's just, so we have our question that's going to help us with the task. They tell you everything you need to do right on this page. I know you probably think that that's the only thing you need out of here, but they're very specific about what's going to help you be successful. Okay? So it tells you right there, use information from the passages. You can underline that. Sometimes they'll call them sources. So I'm putting that above the word passages. Do you guys need another pencil or something? Yes? Here. Okay? The sources are the base of your essay. You have to use the sources somehow. Okay? So that's where you start. It says manage your time carefully. Do you guys remember? You guys did this last year, some of you. How long do you get to take when you get the actual assessment? Matthew? Do you remember? It is 2 hours. A lot of times you'll hear the teachers, it's 120 minutes or 2 hours. The reason they tell you that is because you have 4 important things to do with this task. First thing, everybody, you have to
Look at the prompt. Wait, read the passage.
we're on the prompt already, so we're going to read the passages. That's number 1. The second thing,
Plan your response.
where do you plan it?
In the planning sheet.
The yellow planning sheet. Thank you. All right. Should step 1 and 2, what if I took 120 minutes on step 1 or 2? Will you get a score on your writing? Nope. So you got to be paying attention. All right. Number 3, this is kind of really important. What's number 3? Right. Yep. And then number 4, you want to do what?
Revise and edit your response.
So when you revise, you're making it sound better. When you edit, you're making it look better. So say I wrote better, but I left the R off. When I'm editing, I forgot to put the R there.
Look
Okay? Look better. Yeah.
Look bet.
So revise makes it sound better, like maybe you had something in a weird order and you could fix it because you have time. Okay? Look better is that editing. They're not the same thing. So it's told me what I have to do in my time. Now it's going to tell me what I have to include. This is so awesome. They're giving me all kinds of hints. So I have to include that first thing, which is and we're going to work on that next week. I'm going to come back next week to work on the writing part. I know you guys have done it some this year. This next one I want you to star. Put a star or something next to it. What else do we have to include? Okay, information. That is evidence from the text. Okay, so that's a big, really important one. Because remember, I told you that's the base of your essay. And then the last part, what does it say? Conclusion. They don't just say a conclusion. You can't just say, thanks for reading my essay, bye. That's not appropriate. That's maybe what we might want like first grader and move them out of there. You guys, it tells you conclusion related to what? So your conclusion is going to say something about what's our task? Endangered animals. There's got to be something in the conclusion about endangered animals. Okay, so please resist the urge to say thank you, bye in your essay. Remember, no text talk. That's text talk. All right? And then it tells you one more thing. Your response should be in the form of a multi-paragraph essay. Multi means more than one. And I'm going to venture to say that it sort of means more than 2. Because 2 is not going to get you an introduction, information in your body, and a conclusion. So could it be 3?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd rather you did it. Because if you have two really good ideas and you put them in one body paragraph, it's not going to be clear. And we talked about conveying ideas clearly. Okay? Could it be 4?
Yes.
4 could be great. If you have two really good ideas that you can write about 2 body paragraphs and you do an introduction and a conclusion, you might have enough. Could it be 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you had 3 really good ideas? Don't squeeze them into 2 body paragraphs. Make them into 3 body paragraphs. It's going to depend on, each prompt is different. I can't tell you on this one, we haven't finished reading it yet. Should we do 4 or should we do 5? I don't know yet, because you guys haven't read it. So you have to be thinking about that and knowing there's different ways to approach it. Okay? If it said 5-paragraph essay, then I would say, write a 5-paragraph essay. But it says, what's that word again? Multi-paragraph. Okay? So what's that question again? What's that task we're going for at the top? Okay, well, let's find out in the text, all right? So let's flip back to source 1. All right? So while we're reading, we've got that question on top here again, right? Can you guys read it one more time? Like, yeah, got it? So we're reading this text to find out how can people help endangered animals. So on this first source, I'm going to start by showing you kind of my thinking a little bit, and then you're going to get a chance to kind of talk with your partners too. What I want you to think about, though, is as we're reading, you can't underline every single sentence because you can't use all of that in your essay, right? You want to find the things that are important. So I'm going to venture to tell you that you may want to underline ideas, obviously, about how people help animals, but also if there's like some good vocabulary words that we might want to use that they define, let's circle or box those because it'll help us. And I'm going to show you how to take some notes on the side so you don't have to go back and read the whole paragraph. Okay? So the first couple I'm going to show you, I know you haven't done it this way before. You've read for the purpose, the task. For the task. All right? So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to start the first paragraph with you. All right, first sentence. Endangered animals are animals that are in danger of becoming extinct. And I have a hard time saying that word. Extinct. All right, so I'm thinking about that question. How can people help endangered animals? Thumbs up if you think that gives you that information. Thumbs down if it doesn't. Does that first sentence tell you how people can help endangered animals? So I like how you're already thinking. However, does it give us any important information about vocabulary in here? Yeah, there's some good ones. So I'm going to show you the one I picked. I'm going to put a box around endangered because I have a feeling I'm going to have to use that word in my essay. When I use that word, should it be spelled correctly? Yeah. There is no reason for words from the text to be spelled incorrectly. Okay? If you are trying to spell, I don't know, charisma, and you spell it wrong, that's okay. But if you're spelling endangered and it's all through this text, let's see it correct. And it tells me what endangered animals are. Endangered animals are animals, I'm going to underline, in danger of becoming extinct. And I'm going to box that word too because I think that's another important vocab word I might need. So now when I go back to this passage, I've got some ideas to think about, right? This paragraph, I'm sorry. It goes on to tell me what extinct means. Bless you. This means there will be no more animals of these animals alive on Earth. So I'm going to underline that. That's the definition. Can't do these pencils. It likes to break on me. Okay? So far, and I know I kind of got this over here. I'm going to fix that. So far, I've got the definition of endangered. I can't fit it all. And extinct. The reason I'm writing this is so that when I go back to read it, I know what I've underlined or boxed there. I could use this in my hook. Maybe I want to use a definition in my hook. Maybe I need to define, thank you. My pencil keeps snapping on me. All right. I'm going to keep reading in there. An animal is considered endangered or threatened when there are very few of them alive. So threatened is another word I might want to use. Very few of them alive. So this paragraph, they gave us the meaning of words. I'm going to say that's background for us. Background ideas. Can't totally read that, but. So you're writing those notes too. Keep up with what you can. I know you can't write every single thing, but you need to know kind of what we're doing here, why we're reading for that purpose. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, remember we're reading for how can people help endangered animals. Paragraph 1 didn't give us information about that, but it gave us background information. So let's see what paragraph 2 does. Some animals are more threatened than others. To keep track of how at risk of becoming extinct a species is, scientists categorize the level of risk with a different name. From most threatened animal to least threatened, these names are critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable. Okay, I want you to think in your head now. Is that giving me information about the task, how people help, or is it giving me background? If it's giving me information, how would I use it? If it's giving me background, how might I use it? Think for a minute. 10 seconds, not really a minute. Say that. All right, turn with your partner and see what you guys think. What do you think? What are we getting out of that? What's happening? All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I heard some discussion. Let's go up here, Crystal. Right? All right, what do you think? Is that what did you and your partner talk about? What was that paragraph doing for us? A little bit. You're on the right track. What did you guys come up with when you guys were talking? What did you share?
That was good background information about how the animals are
Not about quite how they're endangered, but
what's the most endangered.
okay. So which one of those words meant most endangered? Okay, so let's write that because it says most threatened to least threatened. Critically endangered are the most threatened animals. Just so we understand. Now I understand what I read. Because I don't want to use information that I don't understand. All right? And I think when I went back to them, they were talking about too, this paragraph was a lot about how scientists categorize the level of risk. So this whole paragraph was kind of background about scientists categorizing, if I can spell that right. So I just took those two words here and wrote them here. So now if I go back to this paragraph, I quick see what's in that paragraph. So then I'll know, do I want to use that? Maybe I want to use that in my hook. Maybe I want to talk about there's different levels of it being endangered. Maybe you've read about that before. Sometimes animals are on the endangered list and they come off. Okay, there's different ways to kind of use that. All right, let's look at that third paragraph. Would you all read that together out loud? 1, 2, 3, go.
There are also some animals that only exist in captivity. For example, in the zoo, these animals are called extinct in the wild.
I have to say something. How you guys read that was perfect. When it's in the parentheses, you kind of take that little pause because it's explaining what they mean. So, is this giving us any information? I want you to think about how people can help endangered animals. I want you to think and then talk with your partner. And if you have something in there, underline it, box it, and we're going to share. Not the whole sentence. Find a couple words or phrases if you think it could be useful. Go ahead, 30 seconds. All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Now that was very short. But I saw some of you guys picking out some things. What did you pick out, Michael and your team? What did you guys come up with?
That it might be how people help endangered animals because the endangered animals were kept inside a zoo.
Okay, and what did they call that in this sentence? What's that word they used? You boxed it.
Captivity.
Captivity. Thumbs up if you also boxed or underlined captivity. I think that's a good place to be. If you guys are thinking it must be it. So captivity could be important, and they give you the example, being captive in a zoo. What else? I saw some other people kind of in that second sentence, there's something that they liked. What did you guys like in that second?
I like it says extinct wild, it says that, and I think it's important.
Okay, thumbs up if anybody else put something around extinct in the wild. Okay, a few of them did. I'm going to do that since some of you guys did, because I want to kind of use your ideas too. Okay, so in this paragraph, did they talk about how people help endangered animals?
No.
It says that some animals only exist in captivity, except for a zoo. These animals would be extinct in the wild. Is the zoo run by people?
Yeah.
Are the zoos helping the animals? Okay, so maybe that's our little note to think about. I'm going to kind of put that on the side. Zoos keep some animals safe, right? Because they talked about the ones that are extinct in the wild. They're not out in the wild, but they're in the zoo and captive. So that is something you might be able to build on in your essay. Zoos keep some animals safe. And so if you went back to that paragraph and you knew what was there, you could go back and say, oh, I want to use that in my essay. All right? And you don't always have to do something on every paragraph, but I wanted to show you a lot of different examples. Because some paragraphs is kind of a dud, right? You've read some and you're like, there's nothing here. But so far we found something a little bit in every paragraph. All right, let's read the first two sentences in paragraph 4 together. All right, we're going to start with many. All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Many countries
Throughout the world,
have laws that protect endangered species.
it is often
a crime to kill or injure an endangered or protected animal.
All right, go ahead right there. See if you can find something that helps. Can't see the question again. You have the question on your paper. How can people help endangered animals? Is there anything important in that text there? You can talk to your partner. Remember, not everything. Narrow it down. You see, like when you have that question. All right. Some thoughts. First two sentences. Gustavo, can you share with us what your team kind of came up with? Thank you guys for listening. One more time. Sorry. Okay, so they have this, laws that protect endangered species. Thumbs up if you also had that as important. A lot of people did. Looks like your team hit the there. Why do you think there, how is that people helping endangered animals?
It's helping them because they're making it illegal for them to do it. And if they do it, they're going to jail.
Okay, so the laws, she says, makes it illegal. So the laws do what for the animals? Protect them, yeah. Law, and you can write it either way. Laws protect animals, laws keep animals safe. You can write it in just the way you said it. They can write it the way they say it. Laws protect animals. And I think some of you picked on in that next sentence too. It tells you it's a crime. I'm going to just kind of underline these. To kill or injured endangered animals. Right? I think some of you guys had that too. Because some of you might want to think, oh, I might be able to use that. All right, let's read this, the next part about the specific law. Here we go. We're going to read together this part. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. In the United States, there are many laws that protect endangered animals. These laws are part of the Endangered Species Act, which was signed into law by President Nixon in 1973. These laws help protect the animals and their habitat. All right, so with your partner this time, talk. Go ahead. See if there's anything else you might pick out of there that might be important or good background information. All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, lots of ideas there. Who's a group I haven't picked on yet? Reynaldo, what'd you guys come up with? What else in that paragraph could be helpful for us, background or otherwise? What? Okay, well, let's read it again then. Let's read that first sentence. In the United States, read that. You have it in front of you. You don't need to read mine, Reynaldo. Read it on yours. Yep, we're in paragraph 4. We already did those two. Let's go to the third sentence. Starts with in.
In the United States, there are many laws that protect endangered animals.
Okay, and what's that specific law? Can you read on and tell us what's the name of that law that President Nixon created? What's it called?
These laws are from the Endangered Species Act.
Yeah, that's it right there. What do you think about that? Do you think that could be background information for us, Ronaldo? Why?
That it can tell us that some countries or states have killing endangered animals can be illegal.
Yeah, if the president said it and created the law, do you think it's pretty important?
Yeah.
The president at that time? Yeah, so thanks, Reynaldo, for even checking. Even though you weren't sure, I like how you went back and still found something. So Endangered Species Act could be some background information. It also relates to the laws, though. What about that last sentence? Did you see anything there? What'd you find? I heard you guys were working. What'd you find? Yeah.
We found these laws for protecting animals.
All right. That last one is good. And we have the laws protect animals, but this adds on that information, the animals and what? And their habitat. So I'm going to add that. And habitats. I'm not going to rewrite the whole sentence. Okay? All right, so for right now, we're going to skip paragraph 5 and 6. You're going to finish that with your teacher tomorrow. But I want to think about that last success criteria there. It says, make connections to the text and myself. So I'm going to kind of help you with this one. I want you to think this was all about endangered animals, not a specific one. I want you to think about if you have ever heard of any endangered animals or read about, seen on the news, don't talk yet. I want you to write down a couple at the bottom, or one, if that's all you can think about. Down here, I want you to write something you think about endangered animals or one you've heard of. Go ahead. You don't have to give me a lot of information. You can just say the name of it. And we're going to share a couple. So if you don't think of one, that'll help us. You ever heard of any? Those are pretty common. Yeah, just a word or two. Yeah, you're good. I only want to see one. Okay. We're not at that. All right, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some people have lots of background on that, some people don't. So that's why we're talking about it right now. Tadeo, what did you think of? Yeah, some of you, I saw some other people, sea turtles. If you've ever done that one, they talk about the light pollution, where when the turtles hatch, they go to the city instead of the ocean. So they're reducing in population. Did you think of one, James?
Pandas.
Yeah, and where do we often see giant pandas?
In China.
In China, but we see them a lot in the zoos, right? Because they bred them in captivity to try to get more of them.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be an example. Elephants, and I'm not sure if elephants, I think.
Elephants are going extinct.
And do you know why elephants are going extinct?
Keep on killing them for those.
Yeah.
To make medicine.
Okay, so if you just put your hands down for a minute. If you decided to write about elephants, you need to make sure it relates to the text, and then you'll come up with a reason. So maybe you could talk about why they're becoming extinct. That could be your background you bring in. Okay? One more I want to share that's been on the news lately too, and you guys have heard of this maybe in Florida.
Manatees, yeah.
Manatees.
Wait, manatees are alive?
Oh, whoa.
Yes, they are.
They're alive, yeah. They're in
Ma-
SeaWorld. If you go to SeaWorld.
So, we're losing them. Manatees, it's a federal offense to like mess with a manatee. And there was a man that was on a boat, like kind of hit a manatee with a pole. And he's going to be in very big trouble for that. Yeah, because they were dying out. The boats were causing them to be injured, and then they weren't able to survive out in the wild. So this is just that place for you to collect some ideas. We're not writing yet, so we're not going to write all about this. But I want you to think that you have ideas that can contribute. So don't forget that part. All right, so we're going to stop with that part. Your teachers will finish the sources with you guys, with your partners throughout the week. I'm going to come back next week, and we're going to start doing the writing part. We'll start with the introduction and probably one body, and then let you guys keep going. Okay, so hopefully